title may have confused you, but I hope it also intrigued you enough to hear me out. I feel like anything lower than SSR has absolutely no reason to exist in Dokkan. Now, before you leave an obvious comment, I know SR units can be used for super attack levels, and rares are used as training fodder. But besides that, they have absolutely no value in the game, and in this video, I want to talk about that. Feel free to comment if you do have a use for these lower rarity units, and let me know how you use them. And also subscribe if you're new to the channel. Now let's get straight into my first point. Now, biggest argument for these units is probably the fact that Rs and Ns are good for training. But the thing about that is, I feel like they don't give that much XP anyways, and items can completely take their place. So I feel like saying that they're at least useful for training is kind of a lie. If you use Rs and Ns, sure, you might get like 20 levels, but especially when you're training LRs, there's absolutely no reason to be using training partners besides Kais, or even like, yeah, that's about it. Like, there's nothing really to use besides Kais. And then items. Items do most of the heavy lifting anyways, and training locations. So really, Rs and Ns have absolutely no reason to exist in my opinion when it comes to training fodder, because even when you do use them, they give barely any XP. SRs are also very tedious to use for training because they don't even like include them when you hit the auto button for training partners. So you won't automatically use SRs because they're counted as somewhat high rarity, but that's a complete lie and we all know that. The other problem with SRs is it's incredibly tedious and unrewarding to actually use them as super attack levels. The thing is, when you go through all this process of train them up to level 60, awaken them to an SSR, and then you feed them into your actual SSR that you want to give a super attack level to, it's only a 50% chance. So most of the time, that chance is really not hitting. I mean, if you're lucky, sure it does hit. It's a 50-50, right? But there is issues. The issue is more about how much time it takes to awaken 10 copies of this SR, feed them in, and then still not get it, and then you have to awaken more copies. And then you most of the time just end up using Kais or dozing Kais anyways. So yeah, it's incredibly inefficient and tedious. Now, for other uses, I want to talk about how Ns and Rs are basically useless to sell. They don't give you a lot of bobble points. They don't give you a lot of Zenny. They're essentially worthless to sell. So they're worthless as training partners. They're worthless to sell. And I'm also going to talk about how they're worthless to use. I mean, like, what's the point of them? SRs, in my opinion, have also become pretty pointless to sell in the Baba shop, because when you sell an SR, you're getting 500 Baba points. But the thing is, with how many methods there are in the game to get Baba points way faster and way more of, I feel like it's completely pointless to sell them to the Baba shop. You can literally get like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Baba points just by selling awakening medals that you can buy with Zenny, and Zenny's super easy to acquire. You're getting statues all the time. You can farm Zenny so easily, and all you have to do is buy a ton of these Kai medals from the Baba's shop. Here, I'll literally show you guys on screen right now. So you go to the treasure tab. Someone in my stream actually mentioned this, and their name is Cat, which is very cute, but where is it? Sorry, that's not here. So you go to the Zenny tab and you just scroll down until you get to any of these Kais, basically. I think West Kai is the best. As you can see, I've 7,000 of these Kais. That's just about like, I don't know, 224. All right, so we do that, and then we go to sell awakening medals for points, and see, we have 9,000 of this guy. Okay, let's just sell, I don't know, the maximum amount, or okay, I thought maximum was 999, but let's just sell 4,000 of this guy. Okay, we just got 400,000 Baba points. Why would I ever need to sell SRs to Baba? I am good on Baba points forever now. I can literally just do this whenever I need Baba points. There's no point in selling SRs to Baba. SRs don't sell that much for Zenny either. Let's see how much they sell Zenny wise. Where is it? Let's go to the SR tab real quick. Okay, let's try to sell Chaozu. 3,000 Zenny. Okay, you sell Beerus, another 3,000 Zenny. So what is the point in selling these guys? 6,000 Zenny gets you absolutely nothing. So once again, another use for these SRs completely destroyed, because there's no point in selling them for Zenny or Baba points. You can maybe use them as training partners, but even so, it's a very inefficient way to train these units. Like, let's try to train up, even training an SR with an SR. Let's see how much they get. They might get a decent amount, but still, training items are so much more useful. So, okay, we got 23 levels from putting in SR. All right, but once you start training LRs, that doesn't give you that many levels. Doing a regular story mission will give you this much XP to level up any unit, so it's really pointless to use SRs as training partners. Anyways, that's enough talking about that. Let's move on to the next thing. Another inconvenience is just that all these units just fill your box and have absolutely no purpose now. Literally, the only reason to keep SRs in your box is for SA fuel, and even with that, I just talked about how inefficient that is. Now, the third main point that I want to talk about with this is how you basically can't use any of these units in any event. Literally, I'd say 99.9% of SRs are absolutely worthless in 99% of the game's content. So if SRs, which are one below SSR, have no use in the game, how do you think Ns and Rs are gonna do? They are absolutely worthless. I don't even think you can bring them really into the story missions. The last time I saw someone use an N rarity unit was when they brought Beast Gohan to fight Merge Zamasu, and he carried the whole fight. So it's not because they were useful, it was because they wanted to show how good Beast Gohan is compared to every other unit in the game. Anyways, that's besides the point. I also want to mention how even new players won't use SRs, Ns, or Rs. I feel like 99% of players, as soon as they start the game, will just opt to have a full team of SSRs. And also with the new Saiyan Saga team and whatever, the Rosés, any of these free-to-play teams, they're so easy to acquire. No one will ever use an SR, R, or N on the team. There's no point in them in existing as a like playable unit. They have these animations, they have these attacks, they don't have any use. That's the problem. Even in the lowest form of content in this game, they can't be used. And there's no point in using them because you get better free options just for being the tutorial. The Saiyan Saga team is 100% miles better than even the best SR in the game. So, and I don't even know who the best SR in the game is. That's the thing. Anyways, the other thing about SRs is very few of them actually have awakenings. And even the ones that do have awakenings, like for example, Cooler or like those first form Friezas or whatever. I don't even know if those are still in the game. But those Friezas that awaken from SR into Golden Frieza, they're pretty useless besides SA leveling once again. But even for that, it's incredibly tedious to awaken an SR Frieza to Golden Frieza just for that. Or let's say the Cooler into Final Form Cooler just for one SA level. So I feel like that's completely pointless to do, and most people will avoid doing that because that is a boring process to do. Yeah, anyways, so I feel like we need to just completely do something about SRs, Rs, and Ns. They have no use whatsoever in events. So that's just wild to me. Anyways, other problems. Basically, all these units do is give you a chore because you have to just get rid of them to clear box space. Yeah, there's not much else to it, but all they do is fill your box. There's no use for these units anymore. They're completely outdated. And I want to just bring up the fact that even Legends has some sort of missions or rewards that you can complete with these lower rarity units, like the Extremes and the Hero units, because like, I know they're probably pretty bad in that game too. I don't play a lot of Legends, but I know from the time I did play, there were missions that rewarded you even for leveling up or just pulling duplicates of all these these Hero and Extreme rarity units. So even though they might not be good or useful, they served a purpose in a way of having something extra to farm or grind or whatever. Like you were able to max out their potential, and you were also able to get more stars for them, which gave you rewards in the missions tab. I don't know if that's still a thing. Let me know in the comments if you're a Legends player, if that's still a thing. But I remember that being a thing when I used to play. Now, the other funny thing is literally 90% of free-to-play units in the game are better. They're 100% better than any SR or lower rarity unit, just giving you another reason not to use these units. I don't know what they could do about this problem. It's not really that big. I just find it interesting that these units are still in the game, considering how useless they are. You know, I feel like maybe they could use these units to at least teach new players about something, or maybe missions, because the missions are incredibly useful. And sure, there's the panel missions for the Saiyan Saga team, but maybe they could use these units to teach us about the normal missions tab and where you can find extra stones or rewards from there. I'm not sure. There's got to be some use for these units. Anyways, let me know if you think I'm wrong or if these lower rarity units deserve some sort of use besides training fodder, because if Legends is giving them more of a reason to exist than Dokkan, surely we're doing something wrong. But thank you all so much for watching, and bye.